Hello, BookTube. I've got some mail to go through with you here in the aftermath of my whirlwind visit from an old friend. We had a wonderful time, talked about books and writing in real time. It was just delightful. I strongly advocate such talks. If you are a bookish person, if you can get your hands on someone who knows books as well as you do, it's wonderful. We organized my books for 2019, and I was tremendously impressed throughout the visit with how wonderful my little puppy Frida is. She is a wonderful, wonderful little dog. She has grown out of her manic biting phase. She has grown out of her handful phase. The word that kept coming up in my mind was hostess. She was just a wonderful, attentive little hostess all night long, paying attention to new things with boundless interest, but then periodically just settling down next to me and relaxing. So it was a wonderful time. It did decrease the number of videos that I did, but that'll pick up again. That'll pick up again this weekend. So I thought we'd go through these packages, but first the mail. The mail contained a catalog for W.W. Norton, my favorite publisher who isn't an aquatic waterfowl. So I thought we'd go through this. This is for summer of 2019, and it includes Liverite books. Okay, and it leads off with David Randall's Black Death at the Golden Gate. That's their big title. For Chinese immigrant Wong Chut King, surviving in San Francisco meant a life in the shadows. His passing on March 6, 1900, would have been unremarkable if a city health officer hadn't noticed a swollen black lymph nodes on his groin, a sign of bubonic plague. Empowered by a racist pseudoscience, officials rushed to quarantine Chinatown. If the disease was not contained, San Francisco would become the American epicenter of an outbreak that had already claimed 10 million lives worldwide. To local press, railroad barons, and elected officials, such a possibility was inconceivable or inconvenient. As they proceeded to obscure the threat, it fell to federal health officer Rupert Blue to save the city and the nation from a gruesome fate. And it looks like this author just digs into that whole story. Wow. Okay, so that comes out. I don't know if I have a date for any of these things. No, I don't have a date, but it comes out this summer, and that sounds fantastic. I have read quite a bit on the bubonic plague. I think it's fascinating. Not least because I myself cannot contract it. So there's a certain amount of schadenfreude involved. Oh, wow. Stephen Greenblatt is doing a new biography of Oliver Wendell Holmes. Oh my God, how wonderful. Oh boy, is it big? 600 pages. Fantastic. A life in war, law, and ideas. Fantastic. Oh, great. Great. A new life of Oliver Wendell Holmes. It's about time. Okay, what else have we got here? Well, there's a book with an elephant on the cover by Jacob Schell, who is a professor of geography and urban studies at Temple University. Giants of the Monsoon Forest, living and working with elephants. Blending history, science, and reportage, Giants of the Monsoon Forest offers a new perspective on animal intelligence and reveals an unexpected relationship between evolution in the natural world and political struggles in the human one. From the kings of the Indus Valley to Hannibal and his famous alpine cavalry, humans have been living and working with elephants for millennia. In this book, the author travels to communities that still rely on this ancient partnership. It's not a partnership. The elephants don't do it voluntarily. It's slavery. It's not a partnership. Little 1-year-old elephants don't show up at the nearest logging station and say, "Hey, when can I get to work?" They're tortured and bullied and then discarded. They may be liked, maybe even with a certain degree of condescending affection by some of their slave masters, but it's not a partnership. After the 2004 tsunami, Indonesian officials deployed trained Sumatran elephants to clear wreckage from the flood. Along the mountainous India-Burmese border, the logging industry employs several thousand elephants who fell and dragged teak logs with more dexterity than any machine. I've been to a lot of these places, and machinery, it just wouldn't work. You can't imagine that you could ever get a machine to do it. The thing, I think the breakthrough that will probably make it possible will be industrial drones, which we haven't really seen yet. We see drones all the time that are perfectly good for bombing civilians in Afghanistan and Iraq, or spying on people. But in terms of heavy lifting, literal heavy lifting, we haven't really seen that, and those will make the difference. Those will finally allow elephants not to be needed in that work. And you know as well as I do what will happen to that partnership the day that happens. The elephants will be killed and used for food. So we should all have partners like that. But anyway, let's move on. John Clubb does a political biography of Beethoven, The Relentless Revolutionary, 500 pages. James Grant does a biography of Walter Bagehot. Who in the world? A new biography of Walter Bagehot. That's incredible. It's only 400 pages long, but it looks lovely. Oh, wow. Fantastic. New book called The Floating Coast, about the environmental history of the Bering Strait, where I've spent a great deal of time. That'll be interesting. Lots of whales on Bering Strait. And then we have the Norton paperbacks. They're doing a new reissue of A Clockwork Orange, paperback reissue of Ronan Farrow's War on Peace. I look forward to these, their mainstream releases, because it gives me an opportunity, as I've said on this channel, it gives me a perfect opportunity to reread these things. Ronan Farrow's book I would love to reread. Okay, maybe not so much this one. This is Tyrant by Stephen Greenblatt. His study of populist tyranny in the plays of Shakespeare that never mentions the word Trump, and yet it was obviously solely and powerfully motivated by the 2016 presidential election. The word never comes up, but he's on every page. And it looks like it has a blurb by yours truly. Good, great. We'll see. Paperback might change that. We're getting the paperback of The Last Cowboys by John Branch. I've mentioned that last year or earlier this year on this channel. Fantastic book about a family of modern day cowboys trying to survive in a West that is radically changing with every generation. I expected it to be touching. It was touching. I expected to learn a lot about the details of these people's lives, and I did. But I wasn't expecting it to be funny, and it was. It's very funny. Dan Kaufman's The Fall of Wisconsin in paperback. Fantastic book. Great. Fantastic. That's wonderful. Oh no! Oh wow! Okay, Maxine Loskutov had a debut collection last year, earlier in 2018, called "Come West and See." I really liked it. I thought it had a lot of smart writing in it, and if you might remember, it had a yellow dust jacket with a nursing bear standing up with cubs on her front, and the publishers decided to completely change the cover. That's kind of rare. And I'm not sure that I like the new cover better. Oh, look at that. Meg, Jo, Beth, Amy by Anne Boyd Ryu. What a book. Oh my, what a book. Coming out in paperback. Fantastic. A study of Little Women. The book's reception, everything just fantastic. And then from Liverite, which is an adjacent publisher to W.W. Norton, they do really good stuff. Oh, John Taliaferro is doing a book on George Bird Grinnell, just called Grinnell. Taliaferro is one of those biographers where it really doesn't matter what he writes about. He's just so good that you should read him no matter what he writes about. And I don't think I know that I've never read a biography of Grinnell before. Wow, that's great. They're doing the paperback reprint of the Constantine translation of St. Augustine. But look at this. Liverite did that big, beautiful volume of the complete stories of Mercado de Assis, and in their paperback is not that. For the paperback, they're carving it up into 26 stories with a new cover. Instead of just a paperback of the huge hardcover. That's kind of interesting. Anyway, that's the Norton catalog. There's plenty of other small print there that I'll go through. But now let's go through these packages and see what we have. I'm afraid I don't think that Frida will be destroying packages. She has been pretty much zonked out. She was thrown off her routine by our guest. Okay, this is a debut. This is Chris Waldhair, and this is The Lost History of Dreams. All love stories are ghost stories in disguise. Do you agree with that? Do we agree with that? Does that make sense? This is a postmortem photographer unearths dark secrets of the past that may hold the key to his future. In 1850 London, Robert Heisted longs for the company of his beloved wife, Sita, who hasn't been the same since an unfortunate event on their wedding night. Rather, he's become estranged from his affluent family in Kent and forsaken his career as a promising scholar of Ovid. Taking with zeal to the uncommon occupation of daguerreotyping corpses, Robert surrounds himself with the recently bereaved, capturing their loved ones in eerie keepsakes. Okay, kind of like that. And once again, intriguing historical fiction for the new year. So this comes out in April. One of you commented in the comments field just recently that April is looking, just from your mail hauls, just from these mail hauls that you're watching, April is starting to look like another tsunami month, and I tend to agree. I'll have to take stock of it later on. What is this next one here? Oh, okay. All right, this comes out in February. This is from James Simpson, and it is Permanent Revolution, the Reformation and the Illiberal Roots of Liberalism. Book on the Protestant Reformation, or the Northern Reformation, Steve likes. Liberalism is in global retreat before evangelical religion, declares the author in the introduction to this book. Exacerbating this trend is the liberal tradition's profound and utter misunderstanding of their own genealogy. Traditionally, liberalism has been considered a direct descendant of the 16th century Protestant and English Reformation. In its revolt against the authoritarian and corrupt Roman Catholic Church, Protestantism encouraged a liberty of consciousness, the right of every person to interpret Scripture for himself or herself. Conversely, or more recent, militantly secular interpretations of liberalism mark the 18th century Enlightenment as the tradition's point of origin, freeing it from the influence of prior religious cultures. So which is it? Neither, really, argues Simpson. Overturning deeply held assumptions, permanent revolution locates the origin of our liberal tradition within, not after, not despite, illiberal evangelical religion. Oh my. Okay, all right, bring it on. I want to read it. This comes out in February. I will not be getting to it until the new year, but I want to read it. That is great. That sounds very... Look at this. Look at the envelope for this one. Harvard University Press. It's addressed to me, and it specifies book. well, yes. One would think, yes. All right, let's move on. Big book on the Protestant Reformation. Very nice. Okay, what is this? This is from Pegasus Books. Lights, Camera, Puzzles. By Parnell Hall, a puzzle lady mystery. Don't tell me this actually has puzzles in it. No, it does not. Okay. All right. Well, I don't know what this is. Let's see. It's Murder on the Movie Set. With puzzles from the New York Times crossword editor Will Shortz, Parnell Hall's Lights, Camera, Puzzles finds the ever-popular puzzle lady solving a mystery on the set of a movie based on her own life. With puzzles from the New York Times crossword editor Will Shortz. So the finished copy is going to have crossword puzzles? Okay, this copy doesn't. It's no surprise when Cora Felton's ex-husband's sensational tell-all memoir, Confessions of a Trophy Husband, is optioned for the movies. But it certainly raises eyebrows when the puzzle lady herself signs on as an associate producer. Cora explains gamely that she wants to have some control over the project. The truth is she needs the money. Now Cora is filming her life story on location in New York City, and things couldn't be worse. She doesn't like the script, she doesn't like the director, and she absolutely hates the actress who is playing her in the movie. It's almost a relief when the first dead body shows up on set. If only it didn't come with a crossword puzzle. Okay, so I'm getting a sense here of the theme of this book. Is this not the... No, okay, there are many other puzzle lady mysteries. So these are... How many others do we know? No, we don't. All right. murder mysteries for crossword puzzle addicts. That's, not sure that that's an actual going concern. True crossword puzzle addicts, that's been my experience, are interested in nothing else at all. Eating, sleeping, marital relations, nothing else. So it's not going to matter to true crossword puzzle addicts that crossword puzzles are an essential part of any murder mystery series, because they're not going to care. They'll do the puzzles in the book and that's it. It's deeply addictive. So we shall see, though. The book might be charming. I don't want any kind of nonsense where it starts to, where the clues start to be things that I need to count letters on or something like that. We'll see. All right, so the next one is from the folks at One World Press. They're wonderful. And this is City of Jasmine by, oh God help us, Olga, whatever that is. No matter whenever I say a Polish name, I say it wrong. Who is she when she's at home? Oh no, she's not even Polish. She was born in Baku, Azerbaijan. And her debut novel is All Russians Love Birch Trees. And this is her third novel, and she lives with her family in Berlin. And it's a novel about 3 young adults in war-torn Syria unexpectedly becoming refugees. Okay, and it was translated by Katie Derbyshire. And it comes out in April. It's another April release. Okay, so a refugee novel, contemporary fiction from One World. Okay, and then the last one here. We don't have a box this time around, just a cardboard to finish things out. And it's a finished copy. Could this be actual 2018? I wonder what our last 2018 book will be. Yeah, this is December 15th, 2018. And it's by Derek Sayer, and it is Prague, Crossroads of Europe. Indecipherable cover, but that's what the pub sheet actually says, so I know what it says. I don't think I'd be able to tell what the cover says if I just looked at it, unless maybe you look at it's printed on the side there to make allowances for the art. And this comes out in December. This may be our last 2018 book. 30 years ago, Prague was a closed book to most travelers. Today, it is Europe's 5th most visited city, surpassed only by London, Paris, Istanbul, and Rome. Istanbul is a European city. With a stunning natural setting on the Vlata River and featuring a spectacular architectural potpourri of everything from Romanesque rotundas to Gothic towers, Renaissance palaces, Baroque churches, Art Nouveau cafes, and Cubist apartment buildings, Prague may well be Europe's most beautiful capital city. Can you come up with with my choice instead? All right, maybe not. Let's see. I can think if we're including Istanbul in Europe, then there is a candidate for most beautiful capital city in Europe that is not Prague. That makes Prague look like Oshkosh, Wisconsin. That may not count. Behind this beauty lies a turbulent and often violent history, and in this book, Derek Sayer explores both. Located at the uneasy center of the continent, Prague has been a crossroads of cultures for more than a millennium. From the religious wars of the Middle Ages and the nationalist struggles of the 19th to early modern conflicts of fascism, communism, and democracy, Prague's history is the history of the forces that have shaped Europe. That's actually true. Sayer goes beyond the complexities of Prague's colorful past. His expert, very readable, and exquisitely illustrated guide helps us to see Prague today. And he is a professor emeritus at the University of Alberta, and he lives in Alberta. Fantastic. Okay, well, certainly, and it is heavily illustrated. Wow, great. And not just with color pictures, also, but with text and with news pictures. Great, fantastic. So great, handy little book on Prague. Certainly, the pub sheet doesn't need to sell me on the spell of Prague. It was one of 3 places. I traveled quite a bit, and when I fell in love with a place, I usually stayed for a length of time. And there were 3 places that I fell in love with and did not stay, and Prague was one of them. Prague was at the top of the list, where I was so tempted. I think if I'd probably found a good accommodations, a good landlady, I would probably have stayed. And I didn't. I spent a lot of time there, but I didn't stay. And I absolutely loved it. And a persistent novel of mine, a novel that I have been writing and rewriting for years, just won't let me go, is set in Prague. That's how much I loved it. I wanted to write a story about a man who falls in love with the moon. And that's all set in Prague. All right, well, there you go. That is our mail haul for now. So we have a 2018 book, a book on Prague, its history and its current state. City of Jasmine, a refugee novel. Lights, Camera, Puzzles, a crossword puzzle murder mystery. And then Permanent Revolution by James Simpson. This is about the origins of the liberal traditions that everybody usually ascribes to the Enlightenment. It's the most fascinating for me. Of course, it's the Steve book in this pile, but I'm going to wait. And then a debut novel, a debut historical novel, The Lost History of Dreams. So that is our and of course the Norton catalog for the summer, Norton and Liverwright, which I will dig into right now because it'll probably have an order sheet in there. It'll need my attention. But that's it for now. I will do my best not to forget to upload this, and then I will see you tomorrow. We'll have plenty more to talk about then. Thank you, BookTube.